And there we are. Hey, ladies and gentlemen that are just joining us right now, we did the count
again.
All that. We did an intro. It was excellent. It was amazing. It was Academy Award winning.
There were balloons.
There were balloons. There really were balloons. And now here we are again. So, but I'm not going to do. You guys missed the porn music. Which, Garrett, do you like the porn music?
I was vibing.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I was just saying how I wish I'd have kept up trying to learn how to play the bass.
Right.
And such. So.
Right. Oh, yeah. And I will say that what's funny is that none of you guys can see, and I really should figure out how to record this on the screen, but McTaggart is usually dancing like a madman.
No, you said that one time, and now I'm having a field day with it.
He just grooves. I mean, gets his groove on every time the timer is playing. So, yeah, it's awesome. But we are here today with our normal cast of characters, Crosby and Wickman, and of course McTaggart. But Garrett Reed in the house. As we were talking about a few minutes ago already, we've known each other for years, and the first time I get you on the podcast is to talk about stolen cars. And to be clear, that's because you and I both have had cars stolen. So as McTaggart, have you had one stolen, Wickman? You have? 2. Crosby, have you had anything stolen?
One of my customers' trucks.
Oh, wow.
From in front of my house. This was years ago.
Wow. Yeah,
I found out later who did it, and let's say there was a little conversation about it.
Nice.
He thought it was funny because it was years before. I didn't think the funniness was even available.
Right.
But then that's me. And then Chino's truck got stolen in front of my shop, remember?
Oh, that's
Or did I tell you about that?
No,
we were inside the shop. The guy snuck in the truck. He left the key fob in there, crawled in the door on the other side, and drove away. Yeah,
Did he learn why that was important?
I don't think I'd want to steal a truck from that guy.
No, that's exactly right.
I always give him shit. I go, did you take the key fob out of it? He's like, fuck you. In fact, I did it to him on Saturday when he was here.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to talk tonight about stolen cars.
My personal favorite way.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, too. Didn't you?
I got those. My personal favorite way.
Yeah, is the removable wheel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Garrett had that, and it still got stolen.
Know something about that too.
Yeah. Well, but so here's the thing. What we're going to talk about
if they're going to take it, they're going to take it.
Yeah, exactly. What we're going to talk about tonight is the unfortunate reality, which is that if you are at events nowadays, you are a target. Okay, that is just how it is. You're still a target even if you're just driving your hot rod or your classic or your exotic or whatever to work every day or anything else. But you are a target when you are at an event, right? You're at an event. You've got, all of these people that are there with their cars. It makes it so it's really, really attractive to thieves. And instead of walking into a parking lot and having a choice of 169 Camaro, they can go into a parking lot and look at choices of dozens of 69 Camaros, and they can pick the easiest one to steal. So a couple of the things I want to talk about, I want to, we'll sprinkle some car theft stories in here. And let's be clear, I don't mean us stealing cars. I mean them being stolen from us. Okay. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, exactly. And then, but then I want to talk about some things that people can do. But make no mistake, we're gonna talk about some specific instances and some examples. But we're not blaming victims here. Okay, so even if we're talking about somebody and we make suggestions that they may not have done, we're not bashing on those people for getting their car stolen. because that's not what happens. A thief steals your shit. That's the thief's problem, not yours, right? So, let's make no mistake about that. We're really, when I say we, I mean the general public is really a bunch of dicks lately. And anytime somebody gets anything stolen, you're, quick to judge and, bitch and moan about this, poor person. And I got to tell you, like, that's just not cool, right? Whether somebody did everything they should have or they didn't, it's still not right that their car got stolen. So, for whatever that's worth, that's, my 2 cents. So we're gonna start off with, 2 of the most recent car thefts that really got everybody's attention. Was on Rocky Mountain Race Week a few weeks ago. A 69 Chevelle got stolen from a hotel in Ennis, Texas, and so did the 6th gen Camaro that was parked next to it at the hotel. Now, both of them, actually, I'm not sure on the Camaro. I was going to say it was backed in. I'm not sure if it was or not, but my understanding is the Chevelle was backed into a spot. They did recover the Chevelle, which is really an interesting thing. So anyway, this racers on Rocky Mountain Race Week got a 69 Chevelle. It's an original big block car, original paint, original interior, pretty neat hugger orange car, and it got stolen from the hotel. Now, word went out, very quickly, first thing in the morning, and it was all over the internet, and a lot of people were posting it, which was great. It turns out that it was a pretty interesting turn of events that led to it being recovered. It was a shadow of its former self, but it was recovered after the car. Police officers were called. Obviously, there was reports made. There was bulletins put out to the police department. There were social media posts of all kinds. A cop that was at a property that is known to be a drug house and a dump spot for stolen goods and all these things was literally doing surveillance there. And here comes this Chevelle and they dump it off of a tow truck in the middle of the street, right? And he sees this thing and goes, wait a second, I saw that this morning, right? And so calls it in and there they go. I'm not sure on what has happened with all the parts that were taken off of it. I know that the engine and transmission in particular were taken out of it. That was somebody attempted to sell the engine and trans the very next day to a local shop here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That shop owner had seen it on Facebook that the car was stolen. He recognized one of the photos of the engine was of the engine still in the orange Chevelle. And so he went, oh yeah, dude, I'm totally interested. And like played the game and called the cops and did all the things. And I don't know exactly what happened with that part of it, but I do know that the owners of the Chevelle got it back before Rocky Mountain Race Week was over and put it on their open trailer and drove it to Mocan and Tulsa for the last 2 days on the trailer. Now, the owner of the car, was really dejected, Jay, and I'm sure he's calmed down now, but he was doing what is not uncommon. Oh, I don't think it's savable, and I may never rebuild it, and this and that and the other. And of course, I was like, I'll take it right now. What do you need for it? They absolutely tore up the trunk lid and the tail panel between the tail lights that's hidden when the trunk is closed, because they use the world's largest pry bar to get the trunk open on this thing. So they just pried it all to shit, right? But that's one of the easiest body panels on the thing to replace. It's completely hidden. It doesn't even have to get painted and show. So in reality, not a bad deal. The front clip of the car, I think, unbolted in order to get the motor and trans and some of the other stuff out of it, maybe. And so it was bolted on sort of half-assed. And, there was a lot of stuff beat up on it, for sure. It's beat up, but absolutely salvageable. It's a real big block '69 Chevelle. So, which in my opinion is the best Chevelle they ever made. So, I would die to have that thing. So I think it's great. But the good news is they got it back. Hopefully they get most of the other parts. They're still going to be missing some stuff, I'm sure, but luckily they got the thing back. Rocky Mountain Race Week is normally, before Bandamere shut down, it was held in the Rockies, right? So we would run in Nebraska and Colorado primarily, and sometimes in Kansas for Rocky Mountain Race Week. In Pueblo, Colorado, there are areas of Pueblo that are a little bit rough. There's been some issues with attempted car thefts there and this kind of thing. We have 24-hour security on Rocky Mountain Race Week that are in a truck that literally travel around from parking lot to parking lot, keeping an eye on things. So that's one thing that was really kind of surprising that they got this Chevelle. But overall, it's not just because we're in some rough area. It's because it's the story of today, and people want to steal stuff. Garrett's at Goodguys Columbus right now, and it's one of those things where I know multiple people who have had cars stolen there, or trucks. And it's just
Pleasanton
crazy.
too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, any event all over. At Power Tour, there's tons of them that get stolen on Power Tour. Where was your car, Garrett, when it got stolen?
That bum ass Concord, North Carolina. That's why. Yeah, I have a very. I hate that damn city.
Power Tour.
And that police department. That police department can suck it.
That's awesome.
They were no help.
None?
At all. Dude, no, man. That morning, cop comes up to me because, it was my car, another car at the same hotel. And the cop comes up to me, I guess, second. And he's like, oh, yeah, this kind of thing happens all the time. I'm like, bitch, if you don't get out of my face with that shit, I was like, that is not what I want to hear right now. What the fuck?
Right, exactly.
I was so mad, dude. It took everything in me not to fucking rear back on that cop, son. I was so mad because then I'd have gone to jail. And
that would have helped.
So your car is a G-body Monte Carlo. It's a bitchin' car, obviously. We all know it well. So what happened to it when it got stolen and you got it back? What kind of damage was done to that thing?
Man, really, honestly, the only damage that I noticed was that they tried to pull some wires down from underneath the dash, which weren't connected to shit because the interior was basically gutted. All we had was the digital dash, a shifter and 2 seats, and that was it. Everything else,
right?
Took out the factory. There was no radio in the car. There was no original gauges, nothing. So all the wires that were inside the car were pointless. But that was the only thing I noticed was that they yanked a bunch of wires off underneath the dash. I don't know what that was an attempt to do, maybe to find a tracker or something like that. I don't know. That was literally the only damage.
And your car had a removable steering wheel, right?
Yeah, that's the most ironic part of the whole thing. Because the day before, it's okay, so we were thrashing to get the car done, right? To get it on Power Tour. We literally were wrenching on it the night before. And
right.
I had no interior, so I wasn't thinking and worried about. I grew up in very affluent areas that never had crime, right? So I'm kind of spoiled to the idea. I know things happen, right? But I'm all like, man, I'll be fine. And and that was literally my mentality going into it. I was like, man, ain't nobody gonna mess with my car. And that's why. But I was like, all right, cool. I got a race car now. I'm gonna get a removable steering wheel. It's gonna be dope. And I literally took a picture holding the steering wheel outside the car the night before. I kid you, the night before, and I was like, this is my anti-theft device.
Yeah.
And I wake up the next morning, the motherfucker's gone. I'm like, this is some bullshit. You couldn't write this, man. This is stupid.
Hey, the good part is at least she still has the steering wheel.
No, I know. And that was the thing. So, my buddy who was staying in the room with me, he, we after everything settled and we were about to leave and everything to go back home, I had the steering wheel, but we still had the keys in the room. So he tossed me the keys, and I'm like, "Oh, you bitch!" I was like, "You suck, man."
That's funny.
Yeah, it was super funny. We had a beer at 7:30 in the morning that day.
Yeah.
I was like,
how long did it take to get it back?
Like a month. It was like a month to the day before, because for some weird reason, the police department, they had my cell phone number, but they mailed me a letter saying that they had recovered it. And me and my parents had just moved. So I didn't get the letter. Took like a week extra to get to me because you had to go from, the old address that they had on file to the new address. And on some slick shit, what I found out is that the police department, when they have possession of a vehicle after a month, it is then their property. So I think they were on some slick shit trying to send me a letter thinking it wasn't going to get to me soon or I wasn't going to act on it fast, as opposed to, I was like, why didn't you just call me?
Right.
It was weird. But yeah, it took a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it was that close to you. That, I mean, if you hadn't found out, then they would have put it up for auction.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they had it in their possession for I think a week or something like that. And if they have it for a month in their salvage yard, then it would become their property or something. But they found it. They found it 2 towns over from where it was stolen.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you that when my Suburban got stolen, it was funny because I legitimately thought that buddies of mine were messing with me. I mean, I just genuinely thought that. I had no idea, that it really got stolen. So this is your car, obviously, Garrett's. It made the news.
Oh, on the news. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But yeah, so my Suburban, I legitimately thought that friends were messing with me. So I walked around the hotel. It was in Bakersfield. And I walked around the hotel to see if somebody had picked it up and moved it. Because I have friends with tow trucks, and I would have done that, right? So I thought, that'd be funny, right? If they wheel lifted the back and just rolled it around to the other side of the parking lot. That would have been funny, And it was not. And so then I called a couple of buddies of mine that, could have done this and went, you didn't happen to think it was funny to take my Suburban, did you? And they're like, no. So then I called the police and yeah, it was a few hours later that they actually found it, which was funny, totally in the hood where they had dumped it. But here's the thing. Your car was, is going to grab attention because it's a G-body Monte Carlo and it's got cool wheels on it and stuff, right? But my Suburban said bank shift down the entire side of it, from one end to the other.
Yeah.
There's nothing inconspicuous about this thing, right? And when they were unsuccessful with a wood chisel at removing the rack, which, by the way, all they had to do was peel up an edge and they could have peeled it right off the side. Oh no, they tried to scrape it off with a wood chisel. When that failed, they took it to an apartment and pulled up next to a car, pulled everything out of the Suburban and threw it in the car and then drove off in this dude's car. And so the dude comes out in the morning to go to work and his car's gone and my Suburban is parked where it shouldn't be. And that's how the cops, were called. But yeah, it was, and in my case, the Suburban had, a chipped key in it and everything. They didn't do anything except punch the lock out with an ice pick in the door. That's the only damage to the Suburban as far as from a running and driving perspective. The steering column was mint. They didn't touch anything in the steering column that I could tell. Yeah. I have no idea how they got it to start. I'm sure they had the universal, tow truck keys, is the only way I can figure. But then they ripped the door panels off all 4 doors to steal all the stereo. And, it was trashed. But, Yeah. So, you know, it was
Bastard broke my column, not knowing that the steering column and the gear shifter weren't connected anymore. I was like,
oh,
you
that's
motherfuckers.
right.
You idiots. I was like, y'all easily could have just put this thing in neutral. And then I know it's semantics at the end of the day because I got the car back, so I can't really complain.
Right.
When I got the car back, I got to buy a new steering column because the motherfuckers busted my shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
yes,
damn it, man. I was like, there was nothing wrong with this steering column. Because then, you know, I drove it around for a while with the broke column, and I felt like a criminal because I had to use the screwdriver to start my every time. I was like, man, I feel like the criminal is my car. This is stupid.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
We're talking about what you said that you called a few of your friends up because you thought that they might be the ones to do that. I remember like the last ditch effort that I had. On a whim. Was I'm friends with Chris Jacobs, and so I called him later that day, and I was like, "Hey, bro, like, I know we're homies and stuff, and I don't know if y'all are rebooting, overhauling, or anything, but y'all didn't happen. You didn't happen to come and take my car."
That's awesome.
I was like, "Damn it."
You're hoping, right?
I know. I was like, I really hope y'all were. I know you wouldn't tell me because that's part of the show, but
yeah,
I'm hurting right now, bro. So you don't have to lie to me.
That's so awesome. Well, I got to tell you. So let's go around the group and see. We'll start with Wickman. I want everybody to say what their favorite anti-theft device or anti-theft measure is to keep their junk from getting stolen. Wickman, you start.
Well, it's battery disconnect, but I mean, it's one, where you have your battery, and two, where you have your disconnect, that you basically yourself or maybe one or two other people that you can fully trust would know that it is where it is, and being inconspicuous, like when you go to disconnect it when you park it for the evening.
Yeah. Yep. Good idea.
I've got ideas like my OBS when I get back that I'm going to be doing something with that I'm going to do myself, since I'm more than capable of doing it. But I think the only person I plan on telling is my wife. Where it would be something that we were watching a video about a C10 truck. It was the mid 60s era C10. That they put a fuel cell in it behind the rear end, but they still had the filler neck on the side of the cab.
Oh, right.
I know that's just something just for that particular those kind of trucks that have the side. But you could do a battery disconnect. I meant put your batteries behind the seat, then run the disconnect up to the gas cap, and have it like you just
locking gas cap. Yep.
Just twist the gas cap itself, and would figure something like that out. I just thought that would be something. It's really, really easy. That it's kind of like, hey, you get out of your car and it's just like, I'm just like checking the gas cap, and you're actually have a dead man switch for it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I like that idea. How about you, McTaggart?
So when we did the conversion to the TKX, we noticed that we couldn't get the car to start at all with everything hooked up. And it actually took about an hour to figure out what was going on because I hadn't changed any relays. Everything's plugged in. We had put the column together correctly. It turns out on that era Chrysler, there's two different types of starter relay switches that are on the bolt of the firewall.
Yeah.
And if you have an automatic transmission version, if you don't ground out one particular wire, then you'll never start it. It will never send the signal to the coil.
Yeah.
So that's all I do.
Yeah. Well, okay. So along those lines, let me tell you two other little tricks. So grounding the coil, that's one that's super easy. You can hide a toggle switch anywhere to ground the coil, and the thing will crank all day long but never fire. The other one is, and I know Crosby knows this one, on a Chevrolet or GM vehicle with a column shifter. If you put a floor shifter in and you take the lever off, okay, of the column, it still has the little ears there, right? But you can take that collar off and put a floor shift collar on it, and it'll look like it was never a column shift car. Here's the thing: if you unhook the lever at the end of the steering column, okay, then if it turns, it'll think it's in gear and it won't start. So, you have to screw the thing to the firewall or bolt it, so that it doesn't turn. Or you leave it alone, because all you do then is grab your steering column and turn it a tiny bit. Nobody would ever know. And the thing, even if you had the key, it won't start.
You talking about the little push down thing you had on Mopar?
No. So where the column shifter's lever is, if you replace that, you can replace that collar so it doesn't have the shifter port.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you still can bear hug the thing around and shift it like that, as long as the linkage isn't hooked up. Because we did that in my Caprice when I was a kid, and we did that for my mom's Omega, which was
I thought you were talking about that little push down.
Oh no! No. The actual neutral safety switch.
No, there's a neutral safety switch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's doing. And so if you turn it, it thinks it's in gear and it won't start.
Yeah, you can bear hug it
but visually, there's no way to know that you even did anything to it. So it's pretty cool. So Crosby, what about you? What's a favorite thing that you think is a good anti-theft?
Nah, boy.
Well, I actually have a precursor story that I want to tell.
Okay.
Strangest vehicle theft ever.
Yeah.
I get a call at about, I don't know what, middle of the night. I'm in California. Cincinnati phone number comes up. It is a cop from Cincinnati at Buso laying on its side in the alleyway at the convention center.
The what?
And
what
I go, one of Roland's, his Hayabusa is laying on the ground. Turns out security guard stole it. Long story short, they get my card out from underneath the seat on the bike. Call me in California. So I have to call the truck driver and tell him that the bike's laying in the alley. And of course, me being the sarcastic son of a bitch I am, he doesn't believe me.
Right.
And I'm like, I swear to God, you got to call these guys back. And he goes, there is no way. And it was literally one of the security guards drug it outside, laid it down on its side, and somehow the cops found it out there. And luckily, we got the bike back. Roland wasn't too happy about it, but that kind of goes without saying.
Oh my God!
But on to anti-theft stuff. There's a couple little cool things. If you get a commonly open solenoid and put it in the fuel line, so when you turn power off to it, it closes. So the fuel pump will come on, everything, until you turn the other switch on that opens up that solenoid. You hear the fuel pump running, everything, car won't start. No fuel pressure. So that's one, and obviously the other one is, but yeah, I may or may have not done that on
that too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if anybody's ever driven a tow truck, like my uncle owned a towing company, there's a thing called a Myco lock. That's it's a mechanical line lock, right? And it has a lever, and it's a over center lever. And they're typically were mounted next to the seat on the floor on a on a dually tow truck. And when you got out of the truck for a call,
and they just look like the fuel transfer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they look like a fuel transfer switch.
All four brakes, so you could flip that thing like you would, and it would lock all the brakes so that you could, drag something out of a ditch or whatever, and it would, be fine. And that kind of thing will also work in a fuel line. So, there's a couple of different options. Now, I got to tell you, I think that nowadays I'm all over the little things, right? Me and Neil were talking about it during Rocky Mountain Race Week about some other things you could do. One of the things that we were talking about, and I thought was a pretty good idea actually, was Neil said, we were talking about boots, right? Because you can get boots to put on your car, right? Like just like the cops will put a boot on it if you have unpaid parking tickets. Well, you can buy those all over the internet, from dirt cheap light duty ones to really heavy duty ones. Alex Taylor uses one of those. She also uses a GPS tracker. But along the lines of the boot, me and Neil were talking about it, and the reality is, if somebody really wants to steal your shit, they're going to steal it, period. It doesn't matter what you do, they're going to steal it if they want it bad enough. But the reality is that most thieves, they want easy. They do not want to pick something that's going to be difficult, right? So the more obvious things you do, the bigger of a pain it is. They're going to walk past your car. So Neil had an idea of doing a solid bar or a piece of box tubing or whatever, that if you had wheels that were like spoked wheels where you could do this, shoving a bar all the way through the front wheels from side to side, and putting a lock around one end, right? I mean, because getting that thing all undone and then rolling the thing is going to be a giant pain in the ass, right? So that's a pretty smart idea. I could think of some trick ways to make it be a thing that, that maybe that bar fit over a pin that was on the center of the cross member, under the engine, and you could put a padlock on it there or whatever. Like, I think that there's, a bunch of different, options for cool things that you could do that would be visual, even going so far as to put a giant chain around your wheels. That's, it sounds overkill, but who cares? I mean, if it takes you 5 extra minutes or 10 extra minutes to park the car or to get back in the car and drive away in the morning, but it's still there, seems like a win to me, but I got to tell you, if you're doing these road trips and you don't have a GPS tracker in it, then I think you're doing it wrong,
And AirPods are not AirPods, but what do you call that? AirPod?
AirTag.
AirTag. All you got to do is walk around the car with a Apple phone, and you can find the tag.
Exactly.
So those aren't the best thing to do.
Are not good for any of this. They're not good for finding your dog.
No.
Yeah. They're not good for any of those things. The other thing is, an AirTag only works when it's near an iPhone. So if somebody dumped your car with an AirTag on it in the middle of a cornfield, wherever it was last near an iPhone will be the last evidence of its existence. So if you then go park it in the middle of a field, nobody's going to find it with the AirTag, because it will have lost its connectivity. It doesn't know where it is. And so the big deal is, and as CJ Stevenson
but if somebody's got an iPhone, they just walk around the car.
Yes. And they can disable them
now be disabled, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So Barn says he is an affiliate for GPS company. Tell us which one, Barn. I got to tell you, Side by Side does GPS monitoring systems. They're a sponsor of Rocky Mountain Race Week. Theirs are designed for, razors and, side by sides, but they work in anything. I have to tell you, one of my favorites, because it's cheap and it's easy, and it works really good, is Optimus. I can tell you that there are several racers that that use an Optimus. I'm going to show you guys a pretty cool thing about this, and this is just one of the brands. I have no skin in this game. I don't know anybody at Optimus. I'm not endorsing them like I get paid by them or anything like that. But these units, there are a couple of different versions. So one of the cool things with these is that the is that theirs are, they work a little bit different than some of the others in that you have your choice of either battery. Okay, these ones up here are battery operated. They have batteries in them that last, depends on the one, but 30 to 90 days. And then they also have ones that plug in and are, to the battery in the vehicle. Okay, so they run off of the 12 volts, that's in your car. But here's the nice thing. See this little case? So this thing is like a little mini Pelican case, and these big circles up here are magnets. So you can stick this bastard anywhere you want. And yes, you're looking at that right. It's $40 for the case and the GPS tracker, and it's $20 a month. It doesn't matter whether if you don't want to have this thing working all year long, and you literally only want to have it active when you're doing Power Tour or Rocky Mountain Race Week or whatever, you can pay for 1 month at a time, and it's the $20. There's no long-term commitment. There's none of that. So you literally can take this thing, move it from vehicle to vehicle. You can activate it when you want to. You don't have to all the time. And so to me, that's a really, that's a pretty enticing kind of scenario, right? And $20 for the peace of mind, you can track it. You can set up geofencing. If you don't know what geofencing is, that is, you set up an area, and if the car leaves that area, it notifies you. You can notify it, have it notify you based on speed, any movement at all, or a geofence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it works with an app that not only notifies you in the app, but also sends you a text message to your phone. So it's pretty cool.
To work on G-bodies?
Yes. Wow. CJ Stevenson, you will generally always want a hardwired device. I don't agree with you on that. No matter what company it comes from, wired will give you 1,000 times more data than any battery-powered device. This thing, the data doesn't change. There is no difference between the wired unit and the battery-operated unit as far as the system itself. But here's why you wouldn't want it to solely be a hardwired device, because all I have to do is cut the battery cables and it's done. And you have no ability to be tracking your vehicle anymore. So now they do have some of them that are hardwired and have a battery backup. Yes, that would be the ultimate. But if it's only hardwired, which there are some on the market that are that way, you wouldn't want that. Some don't, CJ Stevenson. I'm telling you, dude, this isn't my first rodeo. We've been doing the checking on this. So there are some out there that are only powered by the battery in the vehicle. And as soon as they're disconnected, they're done. The good ones do have a battery backup, but that battery backup is typically only good for a few days. So CJ says that he runs Side-by-Side Tracker, which is the one that is a sponsor of Rocky Mountain Race Week. Theirs is hardwired and has a battery backup. So that's why that one's a good one, for sure. So Jet Black says it's easy enough to find a transmitter using an RF detector up to 8 gigahertz. That may very well be true. However, finding this, even if you know where it's coming from, like I can tell you that on a first-gen Camaro, I could hide this thing in a dozen locations that would still take you 30 minutes to figure out where it was.
Bruh,
because even if you said it's in this area, you wouldn't know whether it was inside, outside, or on top of the firewall, the cowl, etc. You know what I mean?
If a thief is using an RF transmit or RF detector to find your tracking device, son, that car is gone. If they're going through all that hassle to try to find your tracking device, you could just forget about it. Like there's some tech shit. Those are some high end, some high dollar car thieves, man. That's crazy.
Exactly.
They got a lead line trailer they're putting it in.
Yeah, facts.
Right.
Like, putting the thing in aluminum foil, like.
Right. Hey, Barn, send me that link on Messenger also. I love that Cotton is in the house and talking smack about Lyle. It's great, especially because he's not here tonight. I was just talking to him before we went live, and he's packing up to go to the beach with the family. So it was pretty good. So, everybody, this one's going to be funny. Everybody always wants to go, screw that, man. I got a Smith & Wesson that says you can't steal my shit. Rah, 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 rah. Okay. Talking to this group, Crosby, my dude, Garrett, my dude, both of my gun, friends.
Right now?
You couldn't, know that it wouldn't have mattered how many firearms you had in your pocket when your shit got stolen because you weren't there to stop it, right?
No, that was the thing that pissed me off, dude, because I had my gun with me, and sure enough. But what I will say is that this like. But anyways, no, if they had started my car that morning or whenever they started, my car is loud, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If they had started my car, I would have heard it, and I was on the second floor of the hotel, and the car was parked 3 spots over from my window, bro. I'd have just rained down on them.
Right.
Yeah, whole time.
That's so hilarious. I love it.
Bang, 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 freeze.
Yeah, exactly.
Now here's the deal. So Scott asks, so Jet Black asks, do you take shotguns with you when GPSing your stolen car? And the answer is no. And here's why I say that. Because let's be clear, I've had some stuff stolen, right? It would depend on what got stolen. If the Suburban got stolen, I was pissed, right? If my Camaro got stolen and I had a gun with me, people are dying. Period. People are dying, okay? Because it's my Camaro, and I will not ask questions. I don't give a shit. People are dying, right? So that is no. If I have, that would be bad. Not good. Do not bring a gun. All that's doing is asking for trouble.
Life in prison is not worth a car. A car is not worth life in prison.
Yes.
You're a cat.
You can replace shit.
Yeah.
Stick the cat on.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Edward says, what are you going to do, shoot at your own car?
You've been injured more.
Yeah, I would, actually. I don't care. If they're in it, yes.
Yeah.
At that point, the bullet holes are just part of the story.
Yeah, whatever.
That's true.
At least I did it. I wouldn't care.
Yes.
Hey, Wickham, my cat says hi.
Garrett doesn't know, but so Crosby has the cutest little cat named Nova. She's little, she's cute. She's like total shop cat, runs all over the place. Leaves every human being alone except Wickman, who she tries to attack and kill every time she sees him. Legitimately tries to shred him.
He's still got scars.
Yeah.
She's a good judge of character.
Yeah, that's true. So here's a question. Jeremiah Jerdak says, if you shoot someone that was stealing your car, would you be liable? And I would say that depends on the state.
Very much depends.
And where the car is. If depending on the state, and if it was in your driveway in your state versus in your garage versus in a parking lot at a hotel that you're staying at, all of those things matter, honestly. And it depends on the state. So, yeah.
So, first things first, don't take anything we say as law because
yeah.
But no, we're fine.
We are not lawyers.
Not lawyers.
Yeah.
Take our suggestions for what they're worth, which is about this much.
From what I've researched, aside from maybe the state of Texas, which is a stand your ground state, and you can shoot somebody just from looking at you sideways, basically.
Right.
As long as if your life is not in present danger, you cannot shoot somebody because they stole your stuff. And I'm like, well, listen, I'll figure that shit out in the court system.
Right.
If there's obviously other people around that could be harmed in the situation, you got to use discretion.
Right.
If it's if you're backing out of my driveway, you better believe I'm gonna get a couple rounds off on you.
Oh yeah, because I mean, who's gonna argue with me, right? I'm gonna go. I'm so sorry. I was running with the shotgun and I fell down and it went off.
Or Or you don't know if your life is in there. You don't know if they're going to put it in drive and drive through your garage.
Yes. Oh, yeah. 100%.
It's all subjective. But yeah,
Correct.
From what I understand, it's like anything else. It's like if in most states, if somebody's running out of your house back to you, you're not allowed to shoot them in the back.
That's correct. Like Colorado's got the threshold law. Once they're outside of the threshold of your door,
but
they're trying to run. That's the way they do it. Once they're inside, you have all the right in the world to send them right back out by force. But as long as they're outside, they're not a harm. Unless they're
But like Ron White said, you can shoot them in the legs until they turn around. They'll get curious.
I'm going to figure out how to up your internet if it kills.
In Texas, they used to always tell you, like if somebody was trying to run away after, robbing your house, you shoot them. You just want to drag them back in the doorway, and that was the thing. That's what everybody always said. I mean, it was like common knowledge. Well, then they changed the law, so you didn't have to do that, basically. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
There was an instance a couple years ago, or not a couple, but a few years ago in Texas, where a truck was an OBS truck that was sitting out in the driveway, front yard, something like that, in the Houston area, and the truck was in the process of being stolen. They got the truck out in the street or in the driveway or something like that, and the owner and the owner's brother were there at the house. Basically opened up on the guy, ended up killing him in the truck, but they somehow they got off on it. It was basically, I don't know the rest of the whole story on like how the person was shot or what was going on, or was there return fire, but yeah, both brothers were acquitted on that.
Yeah.
If there's no opposing party to tell their side of the story, it helps you out.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't take anything we say about shooting people to law.
Oh God, no. Yeah, please don't. Yeah. It's all right. They'll probably never let this play again on YouTube anyway, because so it's fine. Yeah. Now I have to say, here's the deal. Like, if you get one of these GPS trackers, and like the one that Barn is affiliated with is a company called WearSafe, and theirs is a pretty cool sounding system as well. So this thing is $110 plus the subscription, but it's an 8-year battery life. So it's completely 100%. Don't need to do any installation and what have you. So all kinds of different geofences and history options and all kinds of stuff. They're designed not only for your RV and all that, but or your hot rod, but also for your fleet vehicles. So that's a pretty cool deal. But no matter what, even if you're using one of the GPS units, that's great to help you find it if it's, started moving. But realistically, that doesn't help it, keep from getting stolen, right? So the things that you got to think about, again, are making it difficult, right? So people always laugh at those clubs. Remember the club that you clamp to your steering wheel and it goes up against the windshield or down at the floor between the trans tunnel and the floor so you can't turn the wheel? Those things are hard to get by, right? They're hard to defeat. But if you've got the right tools and the right experience, you can do it fairly quickly. But if a 69 Camaro is sitting here that's got a boot on it and a club and a chain wrapped around the thing, and then the one next to it has the key hanging in the ignition, which one do you think they're going to take, right? So make your junk hard to steal. I have to say, I'm a fan of blinking LED lights too. If you do not have an alarm, just a blinking LED light on the dash is not a bad thing, So, and alarm systems are not bad. They're, especially if you have power windows or door locks, it's kind of nice to be able to, use them for the convenience factor of keyless entry and all that stuff. But it's, but they're good. It's funny now. CJ writes that literally as I'm saying it, but it's true. Car alarms. There's nothing wrong with car alarms, and the reality is, you can buy a car alarm for a couple $100 and have it installed by a local shop. But if you can install a car stereo, which is very simple, you can install a car alarm as well nowadays, and some of them come with GPS as well. So I wouldn't hesitate to do that kind of stuff. I got to tell you, before my Camaro comes back out into public, it's going to get some add-ons besides the stuff it already has. It's a convertible, so it's way too easy to get into anyway. So you're going to have to do other things, and let's face it, with a Slim Jim, even somebody that doesn't know what they're doing can break into an old car pretty easily. So
that's the thing, is like, it seems like there's like different kinds of car thieves. You have the old school, the new school, and basically your crackhead.
Right.
Yeah.
And the old school guys are the ones that basically are not trying to destroy the car and trying to be as quiet as possible. Of course, the new school guys are the ones that are getting the VIN number and programming a key fob right there, and able to take it. Then your crackheads, basically like what happened at Rocky Mountain Race Week, where they busted out the windows and took the car there, and how they took the car apart is kind of like really. I mean, there's, in my opinion, there's a lot more valuable parts on a '69 Malibu than just the engine and transmission.
The thing that was, Wickman, is that didn't scream crackhead. That seemed like a smash and grab. Grab the most valuable parts of the car and unload it before you got busted.
Well, and it shows you the difference too between old car and new car, right? Because the 6th gen Camaro that also got stolen, that thing hasn't been recovered, and it never will, because that thing is all the parts on it are worth way more than the car.
Border.
Yeah, well, or it just got taken apart and put into wrecking yard, parts. I mean, that's too easy.
Yeah.
So. And let's face it, the reality is this. So we'll use Garrett's his Monte Carlo as the example, right? You got a G-body Monte Carlo. It's a cool car. It's all those things. It's a desirable car, right? Like, people want to buy one of those. But the reality is, a 6th gen Camaro is worth way more in parts than his car is, right? Because your car has a much smaller market, okay? But they made 8 trillion of those 6th gen Camaros, right? So there are a trillion people looking for a driver's side front fender today, right? So it's easy to sell all the parts off of that thing. And I don't want to sound insensitive to this, but again, I had a 2000 Suburban. It got stolen. It got recovered. If it didn't get recovered, still, it was a late model Suburban. Like, there's literally tens of millions of them. Okay, I could have replaced it 100 times over and not driven 10 minutes from my house in SoCal. Okay, the same goes for the 6th gen that got stolen, right? It still sucks. I mean, it's horrible. I feel bad for the people that own the car. Obviously, it was their baby, all those things. But the reason that it's easier to steal and get rid of is the same reason why it's also easier to replace, okay? Because there are literally millions of 6th gen Camaros out there, whereas there are not millions of 69 Chevelles. That doesn't make it an easier pill to swallow when it's your stuff that gets stolen, but that is the reality. And the reality is that, the smart thing to sell or to steal is a late model Camaro, a late model F-150, a late model Silverado. Like, those are the things that are going to bring money quick and easy and all of that. It's also the easier vehicle to track if you don't have the technology to, defeat the OnStar or whatever the hell they call it now, and, all those things. So I don't own anything that's connected to the internet. My shit's all old. Like, my newest car is a 1994. So, I got nothing.
Well, one of the things that y'all didn't talk about, y'all talking about a lot of old school tactics for, like, kill switches and stuff, but like on newer cars, while my car is not new, it has newer stuff in it. So it's, fuel injectors, all that stuff with computer. So for me, going forward, if I ever were to leave something, now granted, it wouldn't have mattered in my case when they stole my car because they didn't start it right. They just towed it off. But,
right.
One simple thing, because, unless you're dealing, again, with a very knowledgeable thief, if the thing doesn't want to start, they're just going to say whatever.
Right.
So, like, an easy thing to do, pop your hood and unplug your main coil harness.
Yep.
Super simple.
Exactly.
It'll turn over. It won't fire.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Or pull the fuse for the fuel pump. Exactly. Or yes, so there's multiple options.
I had my Holley Dominator. Yeah. I happened to be sitting on the floor because again we didn't finish the interior. Unplug the main plug wire.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's no power to the car at all.
Right.
So let's bridge this idea because you're on something here, Garrett. Our friend Kevin, Junkyard Diggs. I can't think of the name of the distributor company at the second, but he's got a company. It's just a plug-and-play distributor, but it is a smart one. So the truck he took on Power Tour this year it basically interfaces with your phone, and you can actually lock out your ignition through the distributor from your phone. You just
nice
go in, click a button, you're done. It'll crank forever. It'll never fire.
Yeah.
So that's a thought for old. And then one thing on Garrett's car, me and Garrett, our friend Alex, we've talked about this before. Part of the reason why Garrett's car basically came back more or less in one piece was because it was easily identifiable. And it's the reason why I think the Chevelle managed to come back more or less complete was identifiable. Red, orange Chevelle.
Yep.
The Monte Carlo was on social media within seconds of it being announced.
Oh, yeah.
We set that thing on fire just trying to get the word out.
I'd argue, and I mean, this is not like a title that I want to ever have, but like I'd argue that my car might have been the most shared stolen vehicle on social media ever.
Well, when yours was stolen, there were about 5 others that got stolen.
4 other cars at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody was just trying to push the word out at the point and get it done. If I remember right, 1 or 2 of those cars got recovered for sure.
Only one other one that I know of, and it was the one that was parked to the left of mine. It was the 80 Malibu wagon, the yellow one.
I thought the truck got recovered as well. But in any case.
It would have been a while later. I didn't hear about that. It's possible, though.
Yeah, but in any case, that's the thing is, Chad, when Chad's Malibu or his Suburban got jacked. Yes, that's
yeah.
When his Suburban got jacked, if I remember right, it was black and gray wrapped with all bank shift stuff on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All the wrap, that's any Suburban. That stuff will disappear in a matter of minutes. Mine was an Eddie Bauer Aerostar, an absolute garbage pit on that. But how many of those exist? Forever.
Right.
And the parts, chop it up.
Yep.
If they didn't want to unload it, they could just, mince the thing with a torch and put it in different dumpsters or whatever.
So here's an interesting one. So I've never heard of this brand, but Neil just sent it to me, and it's what you were just talking about, McTaggart.
Yep.
So this is Progression Ignition, and they have a theft prevention part of their. So this distributor, it's a distributor for your hot rod, and it has, it's fully programmable, full timing control, etc. through your phone or tablet. It's all Bluetooth, so you can data log, you can do all these things, but it also has theft prevention. So you can lock out the distributor so that it doesn't work, so nobody can drive this thing away. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's a neat feature. And yes, I'm 100% sure you could do similar things with your Holley EFI with the iPhone app.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask, if there's something that Holley that you could.
I don't know that they have an official thing for that, okay? But I know that, so if you put 2 tunes in, okay, this is literally just thinking on the fly here.
Yeah, you can put
so I'm sure there's better ways to do this, but if you set it up where the thing was, had a nitrous tune. The nitrous tune is activated when you flip on the nitrous arming switch. That's how your nitrous tune is activated. So then it knows to turn on the nitrous. And it can be a completely different tune. So we used to use those switches all the time to do like an 87 octane tune and a 94 tune, or to do an E85 tune and a gasoline tune. But you also could do that to do a disabled tune, and you could make it so that the thing had zero fuel. So even though it would do everything, it would just not deliver any fuel, so it wouldn't start up. Or you could make it start but not actually drive. Like you could make it have zero fuel after idle, so it would just sit there running and they couldn't drive it away. That'd be interesting.
That'd be the biggest troll ever.
Right?
Imagine being around the corner and like watching them, like you catch them in the act and like these.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Just walking.
That would be funny.
Having some trouble.
Right. Can I help you with your car?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
I used to have one just like this.
Exactly. That would be the perfect time to use that line. Man,
absolutely. I had one just like this. I mean, it was blue instead of green, and it was, 4-wheel drive instead of 2, but it was exactly the same thing. Holy crap.
Let me show you this little trick.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be classic. That would be classic. Neil says, no, you make it start up and go on the 2-step, so it just sits there banging.
Yeah, you thought the old car alarm was bad.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, if it started up on 2-step, you'd have no more oil pressure. That thing would blow up.
Yeah.
If I can't have it, you can't either.
And yeah. CJ has a very good point too. If the worst does happen, don't forget that if you have a business page, he's talking about on Facebook or Instagram, you can, you can buy ads in a geographical area to advertise for your Facebook page. And those ads can be whatever you want. So in this case, they donate $100, did $100 worth of ads, which is a lot of ads on Facebook, and push the post to 20,000 users. That's pretty good. That's a cool, smart idea, dude. I love that. Yep.
Something else I saw this past week was that I forgot who did it, but they did a mechanical line lock on the front brakes where they had.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the micro lock. It's that idea. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was like done like in the floorboard, like along the seat or something like that, or even in the seat. I forgot it was something like that. But yeah, just basically lock the front brakes.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. It's called a Myco lock. Is the mechanical one, and they're a Myco brake lock. I'll show you how they operate right here. They're in, or used to be at any rate, in every tow truck known to man. So yeah, all you do is flip this lever, and it locks either one end or all 4 brakes. On the tow truck, you use it to do all 4 brakes. So that you can load the thing easier and all that. So it's, they're pretty cool. So, and the electric part is just to, wire up for a light so you know it's on. It doesn't actually have to have power to operate. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. It's they are a good idea. So, let's see here. Okay, so CJ is talking about the side-by-side unit. Says that their system has remote relay control. We had an RMRWer last year stop and get donuts at Dunkin' Donuts in Kansas. He happened to forget there is a 10-minute delay to re-enable the relay. So he ended up calling us trying to figure out how he was going to get back to the track in time. Oh, that's funny. So apparently he forgot to turn off the unit to tell it was okay to drive away. That's awesome. That's funny. You get caught by your own GPS would be pretty funny. So they're any of these systems, and the side-by-side system is great. And like I said, they are a Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week sponsor, and you get a discount if you are a competitor in Rocky Mountain Race Week, you can get a discount on them. So it's a pretty good deal. And I think, CJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys gave away 5 or 6 or something like that at Rocky Mountain Race Week this year too. So that was cool. It was very, very cool. So, man, do everything you can, people.
Chad.
Yeah.
I may be a little late on this call, but maybe you should have invited CJ on.
Well, I didn't know. They gave away 10 units. Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't know CJ. I don't know CJ. I know who he is, but I don't know CJ. The one thing that to tell people though about the mechanical locks too, don't use a regular electrical line lock and like flip a switch and have that lock. That they are not designed to run constant voltage through them. They will overheat the coil and seize up in there. Probably in the lock
light on fire.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, also catch fire. Even the Rife Systems one, which is technically tested for 100% duty cycle, don't do that. That's not what these things are designed to do. So there are a lot of different mechanical versions, though. So you can do that, and for cheap. So yeah, get one of those if you're going to do a brake lock. Personally, I like the idea, but I'd rather put something on the outside of the car because the brake lock inside, they're going to break into the car and try and steal it still. I want the thing that makes them walk away. Like, I want the thing that keeps them from even trying to break in, and so that's where having a boot on the thing and any of those things is, the removable steering wheel. The removable steering wheel, it has nothing to do with making it so they can't steer the car. It has everything to do with them going, shit, this makes this thing way harder to get it out of here. That's the whole point, so.
And if you have a truck and a trailer and it has either a tongue jack or whatever the landing gear is to lift that thing up, put it on the ground.
Yeah.
Put one more thing out there. Lock the wheels together. Put a kryptonite lock on them. Whatever. Just make it as miserable as possible to get that thing out of the parking lot.
And here's one that Neil had. I should have had you on here, Neil, but you hate it and you wouldn't do it. Neil had another really good idea, and I'm going to give him major kudos for this. So everybody on the Dragon Drives has their Dragon Drive trailer, right? So Neil's idea was to make up a couple of bars, solid bar, like it could be round tube, it could be box tubing, whatever. It could be chain welded together so it's a solid bar. Whatever you want it to be. If you put an eyelet on the tongue of the trailer, okay, like 2 or 3 feet, 4 feet, whatever, down the tongue, and then make the one end of the bars attached there. So you got 2 bars. You could do it with just one also, but anyway, 2. And the other end, hook it where the chains hook up, right? Or to an eyelet somewhere on the bumper, thereby locking the trailer into position so the trailer cannot turn, right? Well, that's going to make this thing a way bigger pain in the ass to try and drive away with it, right? Because it's not going to turn. It's not going to be happy. And if it's all bolted together or locked together, it also is another thing that they're going to see and go, well, shit, this thing's all locked up to it. I can't steal the trailer because it's locked to the car and, all that kind of stuff. So, I thought that was a pretty smart idea. That one could be a good deterrent as well. And, unless a thief wants to show off, which only happens in the movies, they are going to pick the easy mark, usually, And the reason they stole Garrett's car is, not just because it's cool, but it's because it's a mid-'80s GM car. Like the only thing easier to steal is a mid-'80s to mid-'90s Honda. Like,
there's no B pillar. Like,
right.
Yeah. And after looking back on it, like, and seeing how easy it is to steal, I was like, damn it.
Right. Yes.
Should have got a notchback box body.
Yeah, it's bad enough to get into it. It's easy. It's just like mine. It's a pillarless glass.
Yeah.
Fine, you got it in the car. And I told you this when you got the car recovered. The problem is that 70s and 80s GM columns are the easiest freaking things to break into.
They went all the way to like the mid 90s.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. So anything
you're 100% right. And let's face it. The chances that somebody decides, oh, you know what? Tonight is the night I'm going to try stealing a car. I've never in my entire life tried to do this, but tonight's going to be the night. The chances of them doing that successfully, regardless of how many YouTube videos they've watched, is slim, right? So the reality is that if somebody that doesn't know what they're doing is just going to tear your shit up and it's still going to be there, okay? Anybody else, they've done their research. They know what they're doing. They've practiced this. If you want to know how to do this stuff, then look it up on YouTube and then go to the wrecking yard, because you can test it all out in the wrecking yard. Like, it's not a hard deal. And, there's so many ways to steal different vehicles. I mean, CJ says that F-250 columns currently says they're the number one stolen vehicle right now. Well, there you go. And, Honda Accords and Toyota Camrys have historically been the number one stolen vehicles. Why? Because they're the most sold vehicles in the United States also, right? Like, so that's going to be the thing they steal more of. Now, we're all going to be pissed and we're going to hear about people stealing hot rods, but the reality is the number of hot rods that get stolen every year is this tiny little amount compared to the normal vehicles that get stolen, right? Now, we don't care because, again, I don't give a shit if somebody's, I shouldn't say I don't give a shit. I'm sorry that somebody's Honda Accord got stolen, but they make 8 million new Honda Accords, so you'll get another one. That's fine. Yeah, somebody steals my EG hatch, I'm going to be mad. Somebody steals my 69 Camaro, I'm going to be mad, right? Somebody steals my D50, I'm going to be mad. Which I'm still not over, by the way, McTaggart, realizing that I own a Mopar. You
own a Mitsubishi, shut up.
Yeah, it's a Mitsubishi.
Freaks me out. Okay, thank you, Wickman. Thank you.
Take the badges off, and it's a
okay, good. Thank you. Because it made me feel weird. I had a hard time sleeping. It was not good. I drank a lot that night when I realized it. It was.
Should we go find you a Chevy Love so you'll feel better?
He was looking up Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, exactly. No, Chevy Loves are like there's 8 jillion of those. Those are not rare or hard to find.
He's already got a Chevy Chevette. He doesn't need.
Yeah, I have a Chevette. And ask Wickman, like, I'm not kidding you. I could buy 20 Love trucks by this time tomorrow night.
Just go take
within 2 hours of me. They're everywhere.
You don't have to go buy one. Just take Cole's.
Yeah, true.
Just wait till he finishes it and take his.
Nah, I'd do different things.
Going to be in the dirt.
Yeah.
Can't wait that long.
He got a Chevy Love. Was kind of like in the process of fixing it up. Spent like this money. And I found an ad on Facebook Marketplace for like a Chevy Love, same color. I think it was only like 1 year off, and it was like $600. And he was just like lost his shit because that was like it. The paint was faded the same as his. It was that light blue color.
Yeah.
And sent that to him, and I think
I drove to Tucson to pick that fucking thing up.
Yes, you did. Here's the thing. Wickman just got, I don't even want to know. I seriously do not want to know. Another project thing. But Wickman's projects look like stolen cars.
I need to get with Chad about this.
He got this. And it already looks pre-stolen. Like,
yeah, Yeah.
The truck is actually rust free, believe it or not.
What is wrong with you?
Well, not the back of the cab. The cab corner is all rusted out of the thing right there.
Let's be
And
honest.
doors free and windows
And the
free.
floor, there's a hole.
Air free.
Yeah. I mean, the bed might be rust free. I'll buy that from you.
No, you can see it in the rear of the wheel well.
Yeah, that's true.
Rust free?
That is a better start than a lot of people get.
True. Yes. Oh yeah, it's not horrible. My Suburban's worse than that, but yes.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I like it. This is great though. This cracks me up. This one that Wickman sent. Walmart is selling a pool designed to fit in the back of your pickup truck. Harbor Freight sells those already. They're $8. And they're a tarp, and then you just.
I was just about to say, why are you making it so fancy? Just put a tarp.
Is that to impress your sister? What is
that? Like Garrett, you're a closet mini trucker. I know you are, right there.
Yeah, well, yeah. I have my old Silverado.
I know. So you know what what's up.
Yeah, but I'm more. I guess that was more of a full size. It wasn't a mini truck. I want to do a bodied OBS dually.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. All those things are good. All right. So anybody want to add anything before it's we're getting close to 9 o'clock, so we're close to an hour and a half into this deal. So anything
it's only 7 o'clock.
Yeah, for you.
It's 10:30 where I'm at.
Yeah, but you said that 40 seconds ago and it finally caught up.
Neil, if there is no vehicle, can it be rust free? Yeah.
Calm down, McTaggart. Did you hear that?
Yeah, 30 seconds later.
Damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, wow. It's so weird because half the time when you talk, it's like your lips are moving right with your words. Then the other half of the time, you're like a Godzilla movie. It's awesome.
LA County
I know. I guess. I don't know what it is, but it makes me laugh, and I love it, so I don't care.
Doesn't bother me a bit.
Nope. Exactly.
I don't have much to know about Crosby, so I got to take it where I can get it.
So one other thing that I want to bring up, like I said earlier, Garrett is at Goodguys Columbus, like, the hot rod car theft capital of the world. One other thing to think about is how you park your stuff. I am not a fan of the fact that everybody nowadays thinks they need to back everything into a parking spot, but with your classic or whatever, that is a smart deal. Or park them sideways across parking spots. Like if you have 4 cars and they take up 4 spots, they don't need to take up the 4 spots like this. I mean, my Camaro is a convertible. It's arguably one of the easier things to steal. So when we did Rocky Mountain Race Week with it, a couple of my buddies with modern cars that they were driving on it parked, like I jackknifed my car in the trailer, and then they parked around it, to fence it in. You know what I mean?
Play Tetris. Park one car in the middle, and then all other cars park in a circle. And they're all right up to the bumper and stuff. That way, I mean, you can't come in and...
Yeah, it's way harder to come in and wheel lift one and snake it away. I agree wholeheartedly. And you put the most secure vehicles on the outside.
Yeah.
The things that are the hardest to steal on the outside. I agree completely, Garrett.
Like a Brinks truck.
Yeah.
You just got to roll with somebody that has a Brinks truck. That's all you got to do.
Perfect.
Yep.
Can it be full of money, please?
It could be. I'd argue that might be the hardest thing to get into, though.
Airbag it, body drop it.
Put that thing on its nuts.
Yeah, it's on its frame. Try it out, bitch.
Yeah, try to pull a 20,000-pound Brinks truck off his nuts. Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Yeah. Neil says, because obviously a newer car is not easier to steal. Well, they are technically harder to steal. Not all of them, but they should be harder to steal.
That's where you get the nerd car thieves out there, because they're the ones that clone keys and
exactly
stuff.
Hyundai Kia deal.
So here's one thing that I was thinking about too, and I'm glad you brought this up because I forgot it. It's in my notes, but I forgot to mention this. And so maybe CJ knows the answer to this, or I don't know, somebody that is more technologically advanced than me. What if you had some kind of like internet jammer that jammed all signals in a certain, area around your car, but didn't block your GPS signal, but would block so that nobody could be standing there next to your car with their phone and like scanning the car and getting it to open with their phone or a laptop. I wonder if that's even a possibility,
All those run on different frequencies, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's just a matter of jamming those frequencies.
Gotcha. CJ says Chevy ECM in the passenger floor. Well, you can just replace them and it will identify a new guy and disable OnStar. Well, there you go. Wow. Yeah. Oh, and he says there is a thing like I'm talking about
with their super illegal device.
Yes, that's totally what you should have, Crosby. You know what you need? Here's what you need, dude. Oh my God. This is what you absolutely need. We need to sell a car cover that is like the Harry Potter robe or whatever. Remember that cloak that he had that was the invisibility?
Then someone's going to try to park that parking spot.
But wait, instead of it making the car invisible, it just needs to make it look like something I would own, because then nobody will steal your shit.
We'll just have the car cover like airbrush.
Oh my God, it'd be great. It needs to look like it's got no paint and primer, like it couldn't drive out of its own way. Raise your hands if code enforcement has come to your house to tell you that you were going to get your car towed away for your daily drive.
Never.
Yes, thank you very much.
Figure out how to a way to
that brings.
Go ahead.
That brings to mind that day that Brett showed up and you guys were going to do that off-road test.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
And he looked at the tires.
They were black and round. They were fine. They worked just great. Got me there and back with zero issues. Faster than them.
I had a circle track dirt track car that was sitting in the driveway of my house, all lettered up, numbers and all that, no glass, cage, seat, all that stuff sitting in my driveway. Code enforcement comes up and is like, "This isn't street legal and there's no plates on it." You didn't happen to notice the racing seat and the harnesses and the roll cage and all that in the car and think that it's like, hey, baby, it's a race car. It's not street legal.
Yeah.
And, I had to, it was either pay a fine by the third day or put a car cover over it. So yeah, I went down to AutoZone, got a car cover, and that was it for that.
I was out of town on a trip, and the code enforcement people came to the door and told Daphne that junk cars couldn't be parked in the driveway. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And the lady said, "Oh, this old, station wagon." And Daphne said, "My husband drives it every day." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And she says, "Well, he's out of town on business." And she literally grabs the keys off the hook by the front door, walks outside, hits the remote button, and Rusty goes up to ride height automatically, because it's all programmed, goes up to ride height. She opens the door, leans in, hits the key, it fires right up. She's like, "It's currently registered, insured, all the things. There is nothing wrong with this car, and we're not moving it," And the lady was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, dude, yeah, stupid. Like, I think she told the lady, he's put 25,000 miles on this thing. It
just looks like a dog turd.
Yeah, exactly. Like you drug it out of a field this morning, which is
I get sound complaints. That's all I get.
You get what?
Noise complaints.
Oh, noise complaints. Yeah.
The Murata was just had barely any mufflers. The Chevelle was fucking loud. Several cars, like they'll look all right. Nobody's going to question whether or not they get driven. But when I fired that Chevelle off at 5:30 every morning to go in for my morning routine in the Army, everybody for a 5-block radius knew I was getting ready to go work out.
Dude, that may be the coolest feature on the new Corvette E-Ray is silent mode to go out of your neighborhood, dude.
Garrett, video about that
video that you put out was excellent on that, dude. It was excellent, and you are like so speaking my language, it pisses me off so bad when people are like, oh, yeah, nobody wants that. It's got electric in it. You're an idiot. You're retarded, completely an idiot.
It's the coolest Corvette ever made.
Yeah, dude.
You can't tell me any otherwise. It's the coolest Corvette ever made.
Well, and I've been telling, and I'm just going to say it out loud. I've told Holly this for years now. They have all these new EV technology and all this stuff. And I said, if you want the hot rodding world to embrace it, what you need to do is you need to make an electric power adder, and it needs to look like a gear vendor's overdrive unit, and it needs to be 100 horsepower, 100 wheel horsepower. It needs to come with a battery pack. It needs to be able to engage for 1 minute, let's say. That's all. I mean, it just needs to be 1 or 2 minutes of full, 100 horsepower. Make it have a knob that you can turn it up from 25, 50, 75, and 100, and make it so that the car recharges the battery pack for that when you drive. And why wouldn't you? It'd be the same. It'd be, better than 100 shot of nitrous because it's going to make more torque.
And it's not going to hurt the motor if you mess up.
Yeah, and it's not doing anything to the engine. It's all in the drivetrain. Like, why wouldn't you do that? And who wouldn't want to have that as a kit that just bolts on in place of the tail housing on a transmission? Like, it's 100% should be doing this.
People are afraid of what they don't know.
Yes, and they want to gripe about it and make it like it's some political statement. But I'll tell you, I literally was laughing about 20 minutes before we went live because there was a commercial playing on YouTube for that company it's like U.S. Patriot Foods or U.S. Patriot Supplies or whatever. That's one of those prepper deals where buy $1,000 worth of food that'll last the next 150 years in the nuclear holocaust and whatever. Well, they're the most like right-wing group ever. And here they're promoting a solar generator, and you buy the solar generator with solar panels and all this stuff. And I'm laughing because I'm like, these are the guys that say don't put solar on your house because it's the work of the devil. And now they're selling a solar generator. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was dying to laugh.
3-day EV festival going on here in the Denver area this weekend.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of interested in it, but with the temperature expected to be over 100 degrees tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm like,
big nope.
No, I'm good.
I can tell you that Holly's EV Fest event, High Voltage at Sears Point, one of my favorite Holly events they've ever done. It was epic. It was great. You guys you wouldn't believe the number of kids there. Literally 3 times the amount per paid adult as there is at a normal event, right? People were bringing little tiny kids because it's not loud. It's way quieter, right? But what's interesting is all the noise that an electric car makes that has nothing to do with the engine. You think that all the noise is from, the engine of the car. Dude, the drivetrain and everything else makes a ton of noise, So, yeah, it's a trip. Like, there's a lot of it was a great event. We had a really fun time. There was tons of rad stuff. It was all EV swapped, old Volkswagens, Mopars, anything. I mean, NSXs, like all kinds of cool stuff that was super rad. So yeah, I'm not the target guy for an EV because I'm not buying new stuff. But dude, a new Corvette that has extra horsepower that goes to the front tires that you don't have to, pay anything extra for as far as no extra fuel, no extra anything, no extra wear on stuff. It's all electric. Like, that's a win to me.
And it's not a plug-in.
Right. Yeah, it does it all itself.
It's only a max 1.9 kilowatt hour battery, and it only ever sees 1.2 kilowatts. So the battery's never even stressed.
Right. And how
if you fully deplete the battery, the front wheels still have enough power that they're still getting pulled. So it's still all-wheel drive all the time, even with the battery depleted.
Right. Yeah, dude, that thing is rad. And I mean, that's what every Formula One car nowadays, that's what Curves is. I mean, they all have, they have Curves, which is the aero stuff. And then they also have the electric boost or whatever the hell they call it. I mean, there's all kinds of really, really cool shit going on. And I commend Chevrolet for doing it with the E-Ray, and everybody knew it was going to happen. The reason that the thing has a trans tunnel in it, even when it's a mid-engine, is so that it can A, hold a drive shaft for all-wheel drive, or B, hold batteries for the electric.
That's the thing. There actually is no drive shaft. There's no physical connection between the electric
right.
and the gas and in the rear. It's separate. The only thing that sits in the trans tunnel is the battery.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing on that one, because it is completely disconnected. In the trans tunnel is the battery storage. It makes absolute sense. It's genius.
Cool. It's super cool.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I think it's way cool, and I'm glad you got to spend some time with that thing. I've got some changes going on around here that hopefully will get me back in some of the big 3 vehicles, in the next few months to start doing some reviews. I'm also going to do, if you guys think this is a good idea, I'm also going to start doing rental car reviews, because I rent a lot of cars. So I'm going to start doing rental car review videos when I get into a new rental car. So we'll see. It could be some fun stuff, I think. Who knows? It could be me and Wickman in a car together doing a rental car review, which would make me laugh out loud.
I did I need to work on it this weekend, but I actually am starting the whole YouTube thing and recorded a video this past weekend of going from the back road from Morrison to Evergreen for a Cars and Coffee event.
Oh, nice.
It's the first time I've ever been on that road, and it was actually a lot of fun in the Volvo.
Oh, nice. I like it. So. Was the Volvo a hit?
No, because I got there late, and I had to park in the back, and then I got blocked in, and there were a number of Porsches that were leaving. So I was like, all right, I'm going to sneak out with the Porsches, and kind of like there were a couple open spots or spots that opened up. And so I was like, I'm going to park here, and ended up parking between a 70 Charger and like a C6 Corvette. So yeah, I just like brought down the whole resale value of that front row.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. All right, boys. Well, I really appreciate all you guys joining us. Garrett, thank you so much for coming and joining us this weekend, dude. Or this week. You are welcome anytime, dude.
Thanks, man.
Seriously.
Nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Yeah, we'll get you on some more. And I know I'll see you at a show before too long.
Yeah. I have a wealth of knowledge besides my car being stolen. So
Yes, you are. Yeah, and we need to talk about some other stuff. I don't know if Jeff hit you up yet, but I got some other things to talk to you about too. Yeah. So, but
if you're ever out in Cali and you need some help, let me know.
What part of California?
Ontario, right by the airport.
Ontario.
Oh, word, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Crosby Shop's great.
I'll get your info from Chad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you'll want to go over there and hang out.
Good.
Yeah. All right, gang. I appreciate it. McTaggart, thank you. Wickman, thank you. Crosby, thank you as always. Everybody that tuned in tonight, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Hopefully we get you talking a little bit about how to keep your shit from getting stolen. And remember, thieves suck. And if they want it bad enough, they'll get it. So make sure you do whatever you can to keep that from happening. Yeah. And everybody be safe and have fun this weekend. I'm going to check out some tractors at an auction tomorrow and seeing if I can bring one home on Saturday. So
there you go.
Yeah, we'll see.
I told you who to get a hold of.
Cool.
Do what?
I told you who to get a hold of.
You did?
The Early Times Tractor Club?
Oh, yeah, I looked that up. Yeah, there wasn't anything that I looked at some, but those guys are stroking each other more than selling anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
But, weird. All right.
All right, guys.
Sorry. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. The good thing is it's my podcast. So it's my podcast, so I can do whatever I want.
I'm talking about tractor guys stroking it.
Yeah. See ya.
Peace.
See ya.